Oh, when you guys are ready, we're going to begin in a child's pose, or I'm sorry, we're going to actually start on our backs. So just come on into a Shavasana-like pose on your back. Make sure that you have your block and your strap within reach so you don't have to move, as we'll be using them both early on in the practice. So as you come onto your back, arms at your sides, and just come into a nice, easy lying down position. One where you can breathe easily and deepen your breath as well. And really one where you're just at rest. And for those of you that don't know, this is yoga for the low back. So we'll be emphasizing finding some flexibility, not just in the low back and the low back muscles, but really all the regions around it. We'll also be working on some mobility. And then finally, we'll be adding some core strength to this class as well, which I think are three main components of low back health: is flexibility, mobility, and strength. But just take a couple more breaths here, lying down. And it's important that whatever depth of the breath that you've established here, that you try to keep it going as we move through the various poses and postures that comprise this class. And just take two more breaths. Noticing the sensation of your breath moving in and out of your lungs deeply. And from our backs, we're going to start to come into a child's pose, but on our back. So just bend your knees, bring them into your chest, and grasp the tops of your shins with your hands. And without doing anything else, just use the weight of your arms to help open up your hips. So you're gently drawing the knees a little wider than your torso. And all you're doing is simply using the weight of your arms to act as a way to open your hips ever so slightly. The child's pose on your back, in my mind, is just a little bit gentler than the traditional child's pose. And you can always use this as an alternate in a regular yoga class if you want. Just give it a couple more breaths. We won't be here very long. And we'll begin to release your shins and just land your feet right behind your seat. So the knees are bent, heels are behind your seat. Reach over and grab hold of your block. And we're going to get into the hip flexors right away. So place the block underneath the small of your back so it's nice and solid underneath there. With your arms at your sides, just extend the right leg out in front of you, resting the right heel upon your mat. Keep the left knee bent and the foot right behind your seat. And just notice the gentle stretching sensation you feel deep into the upper part of the right leg, maybe migrating even into the abdomen region. That's your hip flexor group of muscles. If you want to deepen the stretch and also help to migrate it even more into the psoas, which is more into the abdomen, you can extend both arms behind you towards the back of your space. If you want to create more sensation, you can just kind of slide the right heel from side to side, which can sometimes help change the localization of the stretch. But just kind of seeing what feels good and going with that. So we can bring the arms back to the sides. We brought them overhead. And we'll draw the right leg back in. So bend the right knee, heel behind the seat. We'll switch sides to the left. So extend the left leg out in front. Heel is on the mat. And again, arms can remain at the sides or arms can extend overhead. Help bring the stretch a little higher into the psoas. Just give it a few moments, maybe some movement, maybe sliding the left leg from side to side. And we'll bend the left knee and bring the leg back into the right, next to the right foot. With our breath, let's just flow between those two movements. So you can extend the arms behind you if that's where you had them. And on your exhale, extend the right leg forward, land the heel on the mat. And as you inhale, bring the right leg back in. Moving with the breath. Exhale, left leg forward, rest the heel. Inhale, bend the left knee, set the foot down. Couple more on each side. Exhale, right leg extends forward. Inhale, bend the knee, bring it back in. Exhale, send the left leg forward. Inhale, bend the knee, bring it in. Last time through. Exhale, extend the right leg. Inhale, bring it back in. Exhale, left leg long. Inhale, bring it back in, and with both feet resting upon the mat, gently remove the block and set it aside. We might be using it later. We'll bring the knees into the chest, and we'll start to roll onto our left side. So once you come onto your left side, try to stack everything on top of each other. So extend the left arm towards the left side of the space, palm up. And put the right arm directly on top of it, palm facing down. Both knees are bent, same plane as your hips, stacking legs. Big supine twist here. So on an inhale, take your right arm and open it all the way up to the other side, towards the right side of your space. Perhaps coming so far as to landing the right shoulder blade upon the mat. And notice if your knees pop up, that's okay. We're trying to get a little bit of mobility and movement into the thoracic spine, right in the mid-spinal region. Just give the stretch a couple moments here. Now again, for the sake of mobility, we're just going to flow with our breath with this simple movement. So on your exhale, bring the right arm back over, stack it on top of the left. And on a big inhale, open it up to the other side, supine twist. Couple more times. Exhale, bring the right arm back over on top of the left. Inhale, open it up, arm to the other side. One more time. Exhale, bring the right arm over. Inhale, big open, drop it to the right side. That's it. And on the exhale, come back over, stack the palms, and let's roll all the way over onto the right side, and we'll do that same thing. So stack the arms, stack the legs, knees are bent, arms are straight. On an inhale, open up the left arm to the other side. And then let's give it a couple of breaths on this initial twist. Just know that you're modifying everything to suit your body. So if something doesn't feel right, just try slightly shifting a little bit and see if that changes things. And now let's begin to flow. So on your exhale, bring the left arm over the top, stack it on the right. Inhale, big open, bring the left arm all the way back. Two more times. Exhale, bring the left arm, stack it on the right. Inhale, left arm comes all the way over. One more time. Exhale, bring the left arm, stack the palms. Inhale, open things up all the way over. And finally, we'll exhale, bring the left palm on top of the right. Then we'll roll onto our backs once again. Reach over, grab your strap, your towel, your necktie, your leash, whatever it is you're using. And with both knees bent and the heels behind your seat, take the right foot, put the strap around the ball of your right foot, and extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. We're going to work into a hamstring stretch here. Now, if you want to, you can keep the left leg right where you want it. If you want a little deeper stretch, you can extend the left leg long in front of you. Let's start to pull the right leg in towards us and maybe even down towards our face to start gently with the hamstring stretch. We'll eventually build a little bit of intensity here. We're keeping a micro bend in the right knee, not locking it out. We are trying to get a little bit deep into the hamstring here. I know it's early, but kind of find your spot. And we'll keep the strap around the right foot, but we'll switch it entirely to the right hand, opening up the hip. So we're starting to drop the right leg off to the right. We're using the right arm as a guide to help find the right spot for the stretch. You'll know it when you find that you'll be in that sweet spot between too much and not enough. Just give it a couple more breaths. This is, for me at least, this is a stretch that's important. I need to loosen up this area. You have tight hips. This is a stretch that can help get me a little more mobile and moving a little easier. We'll bring the leg back to the center. Keep the strap on the right foot. However, switch it to the left hand and start to draw the left leg across your body, working into the IT band along the outer part of the right leg. And you may not have to bring it too far across to really feel the effects, and that's perfectly fine. We're all different. But again, let's take a couple breaths, really work into the stretch a little bit. And now again, let's work that mobility angle. We're going to work between the hip opener and the IT band stretch. So on your exhale, open up the leg for that hip stretch. So bring the right leg all the way over to the right. As you inhale, draw the right leg across your body, IT band stretch. Couple more times. Exhale, open up the hip, right leg all the way to the right. Inhale, the leg comes across your body, IT band stretch. Last time. Exhale, open up the hip, bring the leg over. Inhale, close it down for the IT band stretch. Bring the leg back to the center and let's remove the strap from the right foot. Set the right foot down and we'll switch it over to the left. So gather the strap around the ball of your left foot. Extend the left leg up and let's work into that hamstring. Right foot can be behind the seat or right leg can be extended, heel on the mat. Just start to slowly bring it in. And just noticing the nature of our muscles here. How do they feel? How does the hamstring group of muscles feel? Are things tight today? Are you feeling loose? Either way, we're working into our spot at our pace, not rushing anything. And we'll begin to ease up on the hamstring stretch As we ease into our hip opener, gather the strap in the left hand and start to open up the left leg. Let it drop to the left, keeping tension on the strap with the left hand, perhaps even helping to draw the left toes towards the wall behind you. You could also use your right arm as a counterweight, letting it extend out like a wing towards the right side of the space. Give it another moment or two. We'll start to bring the leg back to the center. Switch the strap to the right hand. Let's get into the IT band for the outside of the left leg. Bring it across. And again, it may not be very far for you, and that's okay. Just give it another moment or two. And just like the other side, with the breath, we'll begin to flow. On the exhale, open up the hip, draw the left leg all the way over to the left. As you inhale, bring the leg across your body, IT band stretch. 2 more of these. Exhale, open up the hip. Inhale, bring the leg across. 1 more time. Exhale, open it up, left leg over to the left. Inhale, close it down, bring the left leg across your body. Now bring the strap back to the center. Take the strap off of your left foot. Set the strap aside for the moment. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins. And slowly just rock from side to side. Maybe just noticing already if you're feeling any differently. Are you feeling a little more mobile, more loose? And we'll start to rock front to back. So rock and roll. Build some momentum up. Eventually rock all the way up to seated. Cross your feet, plant your palms. And let's step back into a tabletop position. So hands are below shoulders. Knees are below hips. Spine is neutral. We're going to move into a cow pose. So on your inhale, bring your gaze up, your chest up, sitting bones up. Belly hangs low like a hammock. Let's just sit in this pose for a couple rounds of breath. Normally we cycle through this in a rather speedy way, but I would like you to feel the pose today. So from our cow pose, we'll be moving into cat. So as you exhale, begin to round your back, pull your navel towards your spine, look down at your knees, and let's hold this a little bit as well, a couple breaths. Sometimes in cat, you can also imagine that you're extending your tailbone to the back of the space. That may create a little length for you as well. And now with our breathing, let's flow between these two. On the inhale, come back to cow. Exhale, cats. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Let's do 1 more. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cats. And we'll bring it back to our tabletop pose with the neutral spine. Let's move into downward facing dog. So plant your palms, tuck your toes, and reach your hips back. And you can pedal out the heels a little bit here, bend your knees, even stretch your calves a little bit. Just kind of ease your way into this pose. Feel your thigh bones reaching to the back of the space. Palms are ground into the mat. Head and neck are relaxed and loose. And from this first downward facing dog, as you exhale, draw yourself into a high plank pose, and then come all the way down onto your bellies. And once you arrive on the ground, we're going to work into a few gentle back bends. So place your hands underneath your shoulders. Chin is on the mat. Baby Cobra. So on your inhale, gently elevate your head, shoulders, chest off the mat. And let's hold this pose for a couple breaths. Palms remain on the mat for additional support. And it's real nice and easy. We're not trying to make anything extreme, especially this early. On the exhale, let yourself come back down. And maybe just shift the hips from side to side just to get a little movement between the first back bend and the second one, which is coming up now. Baby Cobra one more time. Inhale. Peel the head, shoulders, chest off the mat. Now in the second round, if you want to float the palms off the ground, you're welcome to do so. Give it another moment or two, and we'll release back down to the ground. Chin is on the mat. Setting up for a baby Locust Pose next. So extend your arms long at your sides, palms down. And we're just concerned with the upper body on this one. So on your inhale, lift your head, shoulders, chest, and arms off the ground. Legs can stay grounded. And give it a breath or two. And we're lifting. We're also thinking about lengthening. So imagine your spine is still long and the crown of the head is reaching forward. Exhale, set yourself down. Nice work. We'll do one more of these. On your inhale, baby Locust once again. Float the upper body, including the arms. Now in the second one, if you want to join in with the legs, you're welcome to do so. But know that these are always just suggestions, never commands. Stay with it for another inhale. And exhale, set yourself back down. Great job. We'll be moving into a Sphinx Pose next. So supported and maybe a little gentler back bend. Palms, forearms to the ground. Elbows are underneath shoulders. Just bring yourself up, pressing into the palms and forearms. We'll take about 3 or 4 breaths here. Before you exhale and release to the mat, all I ask is that you try to keep your spine long. So as you exhale, use the forearms to draw your torso forward as you descend all the way down to the ground. And briefly, just bend your knees here and windshield wiper the legs side to side. I believe after going through any amount of back bends or spine strengtheners, it's always nice to get a little movement afterwards to let the muscles reset. Set the legs back on the ground. We'll be getting into the quadriceps for just a brief moment, a muscle group that's sometimes overlooked in yoga. So start to bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand, capture the top of your right foot. Left leg is long in front. You can extend the left arm out in front too. And just start to draw the right heel towards your right glute. Just bring the leg in until you feel a nice stretching sensation through the quadricep group of muscles. To deepen the stretch, you can just imagine you're pressing your right knee towards the back of the space. The other thing I'd like to mention is also to keep your leg bones aligned. So try to keep your lower leg bones and your upper leg bone aligned together, not letting the right leg wing out to the outside. We'll slowly release the quad stretch on this side. Extend the right arm in front of you. Bend the left knee, reach back with the left hand. Capture the top of the left foot. We'll repeat the same thing on this side. Remember, for depth, you can press the left knee towards the back of the space. Give it another breath or so. We'll slowly release this side as well. We'll be moving into some core strengthening next. We're gonna, the first module is alternating between forearm plank and also locust pose. So we're getting the yin and the yang for the low back with this movement. So for forearm plank, bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. You can bring your palms together, or you can have palms on the ground, whatever's most comfortable. Begin to tuck your toes underneath you. On your inhale, engage your core, lift your hips and legs off the ground. And let's take about 3 or 4 breaths here. Try to keep the hips as high as the shoulders. Trying to have the shoulders above the elbows. Really try to pull your spinal cord and your belly button together. Really activate your abdominal wall. And make sure you're breathing. On the exhale, slowly release all the way down. And we'll be moving right into a locust pose. So let the arms come at your sides, palms facing down, chin on the mat. Feet are about hip width. On your inhale, lift your head, shoulders, chest. Lifting the arms. And see if you can also float your legs. Really trying to lift everything off the ground. Breathing while you do so. Try to stay for a couple more breaths. And on the exhale, set yourself down. Take a brief rest, and let's windshield wiper the legs again. So bend the knees, and just side to side with the legs. And we'll be coming back for another round of the same sequence. So set your legs down, setting up for forearm plank, elbows under shoulders, tuck the toes, engage your core, and on the inhale, lift legs and hips off the ground. And give it about 4 breaths here if you can. And to modify, you can always set the knees down on the mat. But just make sure this is a working pose, that you're feeling the effects of the pose, that you are pushing yourself a little bit. Exhale, set yourself down. Moving right into one more full locust, chin on the mat, arms at the sides, palms down. On your inhale, lift everything off the ground. Three more breaths. Stay with it if you can. Exhale, back to the mat. Let's windshield wiper the legs again. Bend the knees, side to side. We'll set the legs down, and we're going to flip right onto our backs. Because, great news, we got more core. So this time we'll be alternating between a hollow hold and a bridge pose. So hollow hold will be more for the abdominal wall and the obliques. And the bridge is just a nice front body stretch and a nice back bend. So the hollow hold, extend your legs out in front of you, arms at your sides, palms down. Heels are resting on the mat. Before we do anything at all, engage your abdominal wall and use that abdominal wall engagement to press your low back into the mat. If you prefer, you can place your hands underneath your low back for extra support. Once you're in position with the abdominal lock, lift the legs 6 inches off the ground. Then begin to float the head, shoulders, and shoulder blades off the mat as well. And finally, if it's available, float your arms. And take about 3 or 4 breaths. If you're looking for more intensity, extend both arms towards the back of the space. Give it another breath or 2 if you can. And we'll exit the pose by bringing the knees into the chest and coming back into that child's pose on your back. So let your upper body rest on the mat. Feel your abdominal wall resting as well. And just use the weight of your arms to gently open your hips. Even in resting poses, we want to be able to get something out of it. That's why I like the child's pose on your back. You're still stretching. We'll release the shins. Set the feet back on the ground right behind your seat. Arms are at your sides, palms down. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you, and bridge pose is next. Inhale, press into your feet. Lift your hips up off the ground. 3 or 4 breaths. On the exhale, slowly come back down. Windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And we'll come back for one more round of this. Extend the legs out in front, heels on the mat. Arms at the sides, palms down. Engage your abdominal wall. Press the low back into the mat. As you inhale, lift the legs off the ground 4 to 6 inches. Float the upper body as well. Head, shoulders, shoulder blades. Arms are lifted off the mat. Try not to tuck your chin. Keep your neck nice and long. Keep looking up at the ceiling. 2 more full breaths. Stay with it. And again, arms can extend back if you like. And we'll exit by coming into that child's pose on the back. Land the upper body on the ground, bend the knees, draw them into your chest, hands on top of the shins, and just gently open the hips. Now slowly release the feet back to the mat right behind your seat. One final bridge pose. On the inhale, press into the feet, lift the hips up off the ground. And again, 4 breaths. Slowly set yourself down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And let's come into a reclining butterfly pose. So bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees butterfly open. Let your hands rest wherever you like. And see if you can close your eyes. Thinking about the concept of surrender with this pose. letting go. This is a nice pose to take after you've exerted yourself in any way, really. So after that core work, it's just kind of nice to settle into a pose like this, which is completely passive. Just give it a couple more breaths. We'll bring the knees back to the center. We're moving into our hip opening pose, which will be a supine pigeon. Take your right ankle, cross it over your left knee or your left thigh. Foot is flexed. Now you can stay just like this if this is enough depth for you. Otherwise, if you want to deepen, simply interlace your hands behind your left thigh. And once in place, start to draw the left leg in towards you. And you'll notice pretty quickly you can create some pretty good intensity for the stretch by taking it to this length. But just come to your spot. So we want to hold this stretch for about 6 breaths. These hip opening poses are that important that it's worthwhile to spend some time in them. We'll take 3 more breaths in the pose. While keeping the right ankle crossed over the left leg, land the left foot on the ground. Now keep the ankle crossed. We're going to come into another supine twist. So get your arms out to the side like a capital T. And then start to drop the hips and the knees towards the left, keeping the ankle crossed, almost as though you're trying to help the sole of the right foot find the ground. Nice and easy. Let things drop to the left. And so what I like about this pose is that it is a supine twist, but you're adding in that added element of the glute, piriformis, even a little bit of an IT band stretch. So just give it a few more moments here. We're really winding things down at this point, so we're not in a rush or a hurry. We'll bring the legs back to the center. Uncross your right ankle, set your right foot down, and we'll switch it over to the other side. Left ankle crosses right knee or right thigh. And again, remaining here if you like, or for added depth, hands behind the right thigh. Begin to draw the leg in towards you. About 5 or 6 more breaths. And slowly start to land the right foot. Keep the left ankle crossed, and we'll get into that supine twist. So arms to the sides like a capital T. Start to drop the hips and knees to the right, keeping left ankle crossed. Imagining you're drawing the sole of the left foot towards the ground. And just give it about 3 more breaths in the twist. And very slowly start to bring it back to the center. Uncross your left foot, set your left foot down. Both feet are behind your seat. We're going to move into just a gentle inversion called Candlestick Pose. So if you want, you can place a block underneath the small of your back. You can also put your hands under your small of your back. You can also just keep your arms at your sides, but we're extending the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling or sky, like we're making a capital L shape with our bodies. That's all we're doing, is just gently inverting. Give it about 4, maybe even 5 breaths. This can also be a really nice pose to do up against a wall, because then the wall can be the support structure, and you can completely make this into a passive and restive pose with the wall doing all the work. Another breath or so. And from here, we're going to move right into a happy baby pose. So start to bend both knees. Reach up with the hands. Capture the bottoms of the feet. Bringing the knees wider than the torso if that's available to you. And you can either stay still, you can move a little bit. This is our final active pose of the practice. It's really thinking about what it is that you need before you move to rest. And let's slowly release the feet. Bring your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins and give yourself just a little squeeze. Bring yourself into a ball for just a moment. Take a final inhale right here. As you exhale, release everything. Legs go long in front. Arms come to rest at your sides, palms facing up. Settling into our final and well-deserved resting pose, Shavasana. Now slowly begin to awaken. And just move your fingertips and toes a little bit. Just real subtle. As you inhale, slowly extend the arms behind you to the back of the space. And see if you can give yourself a little bit of a stretch here. You're just awakening from a long rest. Start to bend both of the knees, draw the heels behind your seat, and start to slowly roll onto your right side. And just give this one a minute here too. Just a couple breaths, using your bicep as your pillow. And once you feel complete, with eyes remaining closed, begin to rise up to a comfortable and cross-legged seat. Palms are together at your heart. And we'll end today's practice by sending gratitude to ourselves and also to our fellow practitioners. Bowing forward. Namaste.